Hello and welcome to Cities Skylines in the city of Damascus. And today we'll have something very special and very different because this is the last episode of Damascus. As Cities Skylines 2 release is approaching in just less than a month, now is the time for us to make sure we finish this city and enjoy what we have in here. So I usually like what we do is basically enjoy a lot of cinematics, look at the city and see all the beautiful areas that we have. I want to do something slightly different. I want to give you a raw footage of the final editing or the final change that we do in the city. So I do want to improve some areas and finalize some little bits and pieces here and there that were like missing some gaps, and I want to make sure that it was all looking really good. I think it is. I think I managed to finish those areas, and I'll try to walk you through some of the things that I've done. I also got some comments asking for more visualization on what I'm doing and how I'm doing. So I hope you enjoy this final episode. There'll be a little bit of cinematics at the end as we have right now, but I think the core of this episode will be doing those final detailing, going through like in every single corner of the city so you get to see how these areas were looking. And this will be our last episode in here. Then we'll start working on Cities Skylines 2 only cities unless we feel like we want to come back. But without any further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing that we'll start looking here, this is the area next to the cargo airport. There is this odd area here missing between the train station, or the cargo station I should say, and this little bit of industrial. So I want to do two things in there. I want to create a buffer with trees in that area, and I also wanted to increase a little bit of our industry in the area. We do have the train stations, we do have a cargo airport nearby, we have plenty of industry, so I thought, well, we might have some offices around those industries as well. Usually you have that, right? You have like some specialized areas where you have some type of industries, and I also want to give this a little bit of a greener area or a greener space to make sure that this area look quite nice. I think I managed to do that, and I think I managed to connect these very well, and I'm happy with the result. And now we have a little bit more industry in the region as well to support the goods that we are actually importing. Now we are importing a lot less, like really, well, it's not self-sufficient, but almost self-sufficient. So I think that is quite a nice result in there. And here you can have a better idea on how this area is looking and what we are missing here. So I wanted to give them a little bit more of a paper industry in there because we were lower on paper and we had enough wood. So the wood isn't the problem, is actually processing the wood into paper that was the issue in there. And didn't need that much. So the gap that we had in there, I want to expand the farm that we kind of had in the place over there and add some more trees in the place, because like this is a remote region, we have an airport at the back there, and I think that would make a lot of sense. And just like I think the team here is one more tree, we added a lot more trees everywhere. And I have to compensate for the farm that I removed over here. As you can see, I'm going around and zoning on this area, and I wanted a little bit more. I think it would make sense to fill that space. Probably the demand for residential would be very high in this area, and I want to do a little bit of a mix and a transition between the high density from the bottom there to the lower density to the top. So I actually did that mix over there. This area would be filling, and the areas in the middle I would then leave as they were. and I actually just removed the trees from from where we have buildings. And I wanted to connect all this area with pathways as well, so people would have a very easy way to get around. And as you know, pedestrian activity in my cities are always very high, and I want to make sure that they do have the ability to walk around without needing cars or even public transportation. And I think this helps achieving that. Let's take a look at the services in the area as well, just to make sure that we have everything covered. I usually do that off camera, always keeping an eye on the service coverage and how much we're actually attending the demands. And usually when we need more, I'll add in those new suburbs or in areas that we've increased the density, because that's where demand will be higher as well. Also, something that you barely see in my city is the pipes in there. So it's quite fun to show you all these behind the scenes things that I usually do. And a little bit more trees over here because it was too empty and I don't think that would be the right idea in there. I also had these 4 baseball fields. That is one of the latest content creator packs in there for the I can't remember now the name of the content creator pack, but I just love how it looks, and I think it goes really well in this region because we do have a lot of density, we have a lot of space as well, and I will just shift those trees around to make sure that we have enough space, hide those elevations in there because that's what we do, and then connect the pathways to give them access all around. So really like how this looks in the area, and really happy that they have now another sports center in the region to have some entertainment. There are so many corners in the city that we haven't explored, or in the map, I should say. This map is fantastic. Like, thanks again, the Bringer of Fire, for this fantastic map. The map is called Yangtze, and it's on the list of assets that I have in the description, and you can check it out. Like, this is absolutely fantastic, and my favorite map ever in Cities Skylines 1. Really happy with all the possibilities and all the areas that we have in here to play around. This is so good. Also saw that this area had quite a problem with the death care in there. I don't know why, to be honest. This was something that I haven't changed in a while. Just a death wave, really. So I think I added just one new, or 2 actually, new crematoriums, and you'll notice here that I'm putting them on top of each other. There is a reason for that. We have realistic population, which makes service very unrealistic for the area, because like the population in the area is usually like threefold, if not more, and the service are all the same. So service won't be able to keep up, and usually what you have to do is do 2 or 3 times more service in the area. So to avoid doing like a row of crematoriums, a row of fire stations, a row of police stations, sometimes I do put them on top of each other just because they use like the same area. And I think that makes a little bit more sense for how things look and make it a little bit more realistic as well. There was this road that is a dead end, so I put a new park in there as well. as I look around, I noticed that there is a little bit of traffic because there is just one entrance into this area that we built on the one of the latest episodes that we had. So I've decided to bring this tunnel across in here to allow public, or not public, but trucks, cargo trucks, to go into the area a little bit easier. And they want to go in that in the other side, and that was causing kind of a bottleneck in there. So I'm exploring some options on how to do this. This is how I think you look at it like it doesn't make any sense, but I'm looking at angles and making sure that I have the right spacing in that area to make the curves that I need, and trying to get them in a way that they look as good as possible. Sometimes it's hard, especially when you have roads above ground that keep snapping and that doesn't actually connect properly. So you have to be creative, like use Move It, bring things around, and that will work. And there we go, connection in here is made. I still need to connect the other side, and I'll do that shortly. I'll be honest, I'll look at this at first, I was like, why no one is using it? I was like, oh, obviously I haven't connected on the other side. So pretty good reason in there. Giving me a little bit of trouble in this area to actually get that junction looking good, because there was that gap in the middle of the junction there. But as soon as I've done it, it was, yeah, look, well, took me a while, but we've managed that. As you can see, sometimes this can be quite annoying to get it right, so that's why there is usually a lot of cutting scenes and shortened episodes, because we try to make it look good for you and not like as boring as it could get. Imagine every single interchange that we go and fix, we have to do that. That can be quite annoying for anyone watching. Also want to make some detailing in here. This again is usually something that I do off camera. If you look around the city and you can find those things around, but there was a gap in there that you could barely see, to be honest. But for me, if I can see that, I will try and fix. So I use a retaining wall to make sure that we could hide that in the place. By the way, while we do more things over here, I want to let you know that I'll make this city available on Steam. So you already have access to all the assets and mods on the link in the description. I'll also try to add a link to the city as soon as I upload that. And you can download it, you can install all the mods and assets, and you can see how I do things or how I hide things as well. Because sometimes like there are hidden gems across the map, so you can find those around as well. And you can play it, you can improve, you can grow the city, you can share what you do with the city as well. And I'll love to see where you take it next. But yeah, that'll be available on Steam, and I'll create a link in the description as well. I got a little bit distracted in here because I want to double check if the issue with the crematoriums have been resolved, and then start looking into healthcare as well, and then went back to adding new preservatories to make sure that this area was covered. there was some areas that were missing zoning. So as you know, I'm always make the services in the city to just work on that specific suburb. So we don't have many issues, especially with realistic population. All the services can go like in one area when we have a death wave, and this can be really, really annoying. So that's what I've done there. And then come back to this area to make sure that I finalize this little corner. What I want to do here is like, cities are always evolving, cities are always growing. So I want to make sure that we had these roads, these dirty roads in here to indicate like the city would still grow. The city is still evolving in this area, but for now, like the region that we want to build, they are built, but we could grow into these areas if we want to. This is probably the best episode for me to do one more trip, because like I didn't stop. I kept going and going and going with one more tree. There we go again. And more trees. Oh, this is so good. There was also this dirt road here connecting that water treatment plant, and I was like, you know what? This could be a nice opportunity to connect these two areas as well. Although that'll be just dirty roads, I wouldn't change that. But it'll be a service road as well, and will make us a new connection. If we would keep playing the city, and I look that there will be a lot more vehicles utilizing that connection, I will then make then asphalt, because that increases their speed, and that'll be a little bit nicer. Tiny bit of traffic in here. I noticed that cars were all stopping in there, and I make them go through, and then we are all good in that region. I think it was just a matter of setting the go through in traffic manager, and everything started working again. And more issues with death care. Yay! Seems like a trend on this episode with death care. So I think the city grew quite a lot, and we had to fix that. Look at the population. Actually, it went down around 20-25k, I think, people with these death waves, and yeah, had to fix that. It's another thing that sometimes I do when we have like this death wave going through a massive region. Other than fixing the problem, which is adding the new crematoriums, I've also moved some of the buildings just to make sure that we resolve the problem a little bit quicker. Recording cities is usually like this takes quite a long time. This episode, I think, was recorded around in 2 hours, which is quite fast for what I usually do. It usually takes like 6 hours to 8 hours, especially going towards the end of the city. But you need to make it quicker, otherwise like you don't have a new episode ever. So this selecting the buildings, especially the ones that have been kind of abandoned and the ones that are in red there, this helps quite a lot. I'm also looking from where those hearses are coming from, and I noticed that some of them are coming from other districts. And interesting enough, I didn't have that allowed to go into other districts at all. So I don't know what happened there. Maybe a bug with the mod, but you know, it is what it is. also hope you're enjoying the videos from Cities Skylines too, the early access ones. Hopefully soon we'll be able to build like a proper city, doing proper episodes with without time limits, and we'll be able to be a little bit more creative, because I feel like having those time restrictions are making me just do things and not really being as creative as I usually would be. And like doing detailing as well has been a bit of a problem in that city that I'm building, but I think I'm getting better and doing more and more as I go. But I do want to start a new city in Cities Skylines and do like proper episodes with you. I'm also looking here at the connections for Traffic Manager, because with the recent update of the highways, we lost some of the setup that we had before in there, and I was making sure that that was fixed. And we are finally finishing the airport park. Look at that. It's been a long time doing this area, and took me a long time to actually get things through in here and finally finish the zoning. But I think it's looking good. I think it's looking good. The area is what it is, you know? It's a very business-like area where we got like some massive demand for residential in there due to the amount of jobs in the region as well. And I think that works really well for us. And it's a nice tourist area as well, with lots of hotels close to the airport. Couldn't be better. Also adding all those final details in there, making sure that we don't have trees over roads and things like that. And I think this is looking quite nice. Now that is this corner, and this is a very special corner, because I was like, well, let me see what I'll do with this. First, let me open the area, and then I start looking at unique buildings and monuments and things like that to see what could fit well in there. And I was like, look at this building. I was like, yes, I think that's the Acre King, right? And then the London Eye, I was like, oh, that's perfect place for that. It's like, why haven't I thought about that before? And with the train line going on in here, oh, this is so like, I think it's perfect. And the view that it would have as well to the both sides, I think it's amazing. You have the airport close by as well. You can watch the airplanes taking off, landing, and you can see the whole city on the other side of the river. All the trains. It's just really, really good. I'm really happy that I took a look at this and found this building and was like, yes, this is the place for it. Also did some commercial in this area, because I think, well, you would have some shops in there as well, right? Here was another area that I was a little bit unsure. Before, I thought I would be expanding the offices into here, but to be honest, I was looking more and more at this and was like, I feel like this whole area at the back here, it should be kind of just bush, you know, just trees and vegetation, and that'll be looking good, especially the area is too dense in there. There's a lot of houses, a lot of buildings, commercial offices, and I wanted that contrast with the nature in there as well. So I think that works really well, and I'm really happy on how that's looking. And finally, finishing the farm fields over here as well, or the area around the farm fields. It started as a industry area only, and now we are expanding and connecting everything that we have in here. And yes, another area finalized. Oh, so good to see that happening. Also give, it's very important, also give cars a lot more options into transitioning between the both areas, into that area on the left with the Brooklyn Queens buildings, and on the right with the farm as well. And I think that's very, very important. Have to fill those gaps, right? We have to make sure that we add trees in those spots over there. This area ended up being like a lot busier than I initially envisioned, but I think that cargo train station there makes all of these works really well. And we have the cargo airport in there as well, which like makes this all be very active all the time. So I quite like it, to be honest. I really, really like it. And obviously the other side connected to the highway there, we need to fill those gaps. This was feeling a little bit odd with nothing in there. So I wanted to make sure that we would fill that up. And again, fixing some of those highway connections that we've missed because of the updates with the highway. There are a few areas that are quite busy in terms of traffic, but it is what it is, right? Some areas are just busy, and they work really well. There's not much traffic in the city, but they're just like the flow of cars is quite high. And I forgot this one in here as well, and everyone is dead. There you go. And let's just reset those buildings to make sure that we get them all happy again. And again, we are at 781,000 people. So as you can see, population growing again after fixing all those issues with death care. And there's some water issues on this side as well that I'll fix soon. But yeah, adding those detailing on the road crossings as well, making sure that everything is in place. But yeah, this city will now grow, and we will reach our end of the city. So 781, 82, and still growing. Like if I leave the city running a little bit more, we'll get very close to 800,000 people. That is massive, probably the biggest city we ever had in Cities Skylines, or that I ever had in Cities Skylines. We'd love to try and push it to the 1 million, but that would feel a little bit silly at the same time, because it feels to me that I'm just doing like buildings and buildings, high density everywhere, just for the sake of improving the city, or reaching that milestone. But I'm happy with the size of the city and the layout and everything that we've done in here. I'm very proud of this, and I just want to thank you all for all your suggestions throughout the build of the city. It's been a long journey. I just checked, and we started the city in 13th of July 2022. So just over a year building the city. And I think we had like a lot of progress, and I thought it would take longer, but it's a pretty nice run, and I'm happy with the results. I'll leave you now, and hopefully we'll get like some really nice cinematics here at the end, and I hope you all enjoy it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all in Cities Skylines 2. Bye bye!